Hello and welcome to our preview of the upcoming Formula One season. And what a year it's shaping up to be. Lots of new rules, 2.4 litre V8 engines, tyre changes will be allowed again during pit stops, there's a revised qualifying procedure, and sadly no Belgian Grand Prix. New for 2006 at Renault, the world champion is in his final year with the team. Young Kovalainen joins as a test driver, and for the first time, Renault defend their world titles. So what's in store for the Anglo-French squad? Their boss is Patrick Faure.
It's a big challenge this year because we have a lot of changes in the rules, especially going from V10 to V8, which is a major change, and it's probably the most difficult technical new thing this year. And also some other changes, minor changes. But for us, what is important is to start the season as well as last year, and to be fit and well for the first Grand Prix, and to be able then to start again a new competition, which is going to be extremely difficult, as much as last year's. But we are all absolutely enthusiastic, and we want to fight and keep those two titles.
He's the youngest world champion ever, the first Spaniard to take the title, but he leaves in 2007, so what's his strategy?
I try to do my job and to enjoy when I'm in the car, which is the main thing when you are a driver. And outside, I know that in Spain now people are a lot of expectations and a lot of interest, and this is maybe I like, and I have extra motivation because I have a country behind me.
Have you analysed why it was your teammate who won the World Championship and not you?
Because he did well, he drove very well, he's been a bit more lucky than me, and I'm just working to win the championship this year, and looking forward, I will do my best.
And their flamboyant team boss Flavio Briatore clearly enjoys his work.
I won with two different teams. I won with a race with 10 different drivers. I won with 3 team the race, including DJ. I'm very happy. I've done everything. What kept me is the motivation. I like it. I love the job I'm doing, and I love working with my people. This is sure. The moment I feel I'm not motivating and I'm not in the top is the moment I stop.
One change at Renault in the driver lineup. Frank Montagny, the test driver, has been replaced by the Finn, Kovalainen.
It's a gamble, to take a year out from racing, but I think it will benefit my career greatly in the future. Main thing is that I'm involved with the top team. I've got great teammates, very quick that I can, very quick teammates. I can learn a lot, and of course my target is still to be racing for 2007. So I'm not disappointed at all.
Now let's take a closer look at the brand new for 2006 Renault F1 through the eyes of the team's technical director, Dr. Bob Bell.
The R26, as ever with a new car defined by the regulations as laid down by the FIA. Biggest change for 2006 lies underneath the bodywork. It's a brand new engine, 2.4 litre V8, fixed V angle, major changes to the materials we can use in the engine, minimum weight, minimum centre of gravity height, big changes. Aviri Chatillon have done a fantastic job in the team in producing an engine to these new regulations in a very short space of time. It's a smaller engine. It means we could have shortened the car significantly, effectively losing 2 cylinders from the engine. We've chosen not to do so. The car is basically the same length as we had last year. But what we have been able to do is exploit the smaller engine, the smaller heat capacity, to resculpt the bodywork. As you can see here in these side pods, much tighter bodywork around the mechanical components to give the aerodynamicists the maximum opportunity to improve performance through the aerodynamics. The whole of the car has been completely re-optimized from the back right the way through to the front. Not only have all of the aerodynamics been improved, we've also worked on every single mechanical component to take out weight, to improve its installation stiffness, to lower the centre of gravity, basically to give a car that the drivers handles and feels the same way as the R25 did, which they were very happy with, but at the same time is just that little bit quicker. All in all, we're really happy with the 26, and we're absolutely confident that it's a car that when we develop it throughout the season, which we will do, is a car that is capable of retaining the double World Championship in 2006.
So what about the team which ran Renault the closest in 2006? Well, they have a new livery and sponsors. They've lost their chief designer, Adrian Newey, and they also have a new test driver in Gary Paffett. The striking new MP4/21 with Mercedes-Benz power, of course, was launched at the Royal Albert Hall amongst flashing lights suspended from the ceiling. But what do the drivers think of it? First, Kimi Räikkönen.
I think so. The new car will look a lot different from any other cars, and will really shine off from the grid, and hopefully we will be on the front, so everybody will definitely notice it. But it will be interesting to see how the people will like it, and of course not always everybody likes it, but this is definitely something new coming from Formula 1.
I think it looks really good. You know, I used to use, before my old design of helmet, it used to be chromed. You know, I used to play with the chrome, you know, dark one, and it's really good. I think it's very, you know, forward, and it's very different from anything else. You know, I think in motor racing nobody's done that before, where, you know, actually go out with a chrome car. You know, it's a little bit, you know, going American style kind of NASCAR car. You know, I think I think marketing wise it's a great thing.
Yeah, for sure the winning on the circuit is the best thing, how you can get the publicity and the sponsors happy, but you need to also look into the details and how the car looks and how the team gears looks, and I think so every year when I have been here the car been pretty much similar. Some small details on the paintwork, but it's nice to see something new coming.
To get back in the car was quite nice. It was a big shock initially when the first time I drove the V8. We used to about 900 plus horsepower, now we're down around 700. It was a big shock. But after like 2-3 days of driving, you kind of like, you know, you get used to it, and that becomes normal. So it's nice. It's really nice. The car they're a lot of fun to drive still, and you know, the trimming of the wings and everything becomes more critical. Balancing the car becomes more critical. So it's a nice, really nice stage. As we had such a great season last year, we're trying to go to the same place. You know, try to even start with the wins and see what happens. You know, I think last year we were missing that. Hopefully this year we can get it from the beginning.
We hope to try to win the championship this year, win as many races as we can, and be as strong in the team as we can. But it's never going to be easy. There is rule changes, and I think so it has back every team slightly closer to each other. So it's more guessing right now before the first race that who is going to be really fast. But I think so the top teams, the Renault, McLaren, Ferrari, Honda, seems to be all up there, so we just need to wait and see and do the best what we can before the season, and then try to win.
Back after the break with more new Formula 1 cars in just a moment. Welcome back to our look at the upcoming 2006 Formula 1 season. Well, what about Ferrari? No number 1 on Schumacher's car. You'll have 5 on the front of the machine. Felipe Massa joins the team, replacing Rubens Barrichello, and Michael Schumacher, he's been testing nearly all winter, and that's a big surprise. Normally, Michael sits out that winter testing, but here he is on a very cold day down at Mugello, where the new car is unveiled. The fans are clearly happy with the new machine. Michael discussing matters with Luca Badour, the test driver, and new number 2, Felipe Massa. But is this the new machine to give Michael his World Championship back?
The car is running pretty well without any major problems, and the numbers we can see from our wind tunnel and other numbers, they look comparable. But then to make a fine, a clear picture and competitive picture against the others, we can obviously not do at the moment.
Obviously you've said it's very disappointing 2005, so looking forwards to 2006, just how much pressure do you feel under to get back on top again?
Just fun, I feel. And I feel like I have a good car to have a lot of fun this year.
And have you had a good winter break, or has it been in the back of your mind the whole time?
It has been in the back of my mind, and it has been make me moving forward and prepare myself get the acts together of everybody in the factory. So it was a nice wake-up call we had last year. It was a tough one though anyway, but that's the way it goes.
And the thoughts of his young Brazilian teammate.
You've been given a one-year contract at Ferrari. Do you see yourself here long-term?
I hope so. So I think every year is very important. I'm looking forward for this year to have a competitive year and carry on, with my contract.
Has this been a dream for you to race with Ferrari?
I think Ferrari is a kind of dream for every driver. So I'm really happy to be here. Definitely is a kind of a dream for me. But now we are very busy and concentrating to have a good season.
And how do you find the new car?
Well, I think it's a good car. So it was very, very cold when I drove Fiorano, but it was already important to see the stability of the car. The engine was working also quite well. So I have to say that we are in the right direction, but proper comparison will be when we have every car together with us.
I think last year wasn't a bad thing for us. Of course, we would have, we wanted to win. Let's not be, let's be clear about that. But in not winning, we did a very hard examination of what we were doing and how we could improve things. And if we can come back after not winning, then I think there'd be possibly more pleasure than some of the years that we won relatively easily.
And what was the view of team boss Jean Todt on the new machine?
We just put a big effort on the aerodynamic of the car, on the development of the new V8 2.4 engine, and big work with tyres, with development with Bridgestone.
And do you feel there's a lot of pressure that if you don't get back on top this year, then it's not good? How do you feel about the pressure side of things?
When we do this job, it's always pressure. We are used to cope with pressure, and in a way we are very fortunate to have this kind of pressure to live with, when you see that some other pressure sometimes is much more painful to live with. So, we are fortunate to have this kind of pressure, and we will cope with it.
And how is Felipe Massa, the new driver? How are you getting on with him?
Felipe Massa is joining the team as a driver in 2005. He used to be the test driver already in 2001. So he is known by the team. He has a good experience. He's a very humble, very motivated, very professional young driver. And we are very happy to have him in the team, and we will give him the whole support.
Ross Brawn there with South African designer Rory Byrne. This pair have worked together on all Michael's successful Ferraris. So the 7 times world champion puts on the helmet, number 5 on the front of the car. Well, remember, that's the number Nigel Mansell had when he won his world title. It's all a bit noisy for Felipe Massa, and Michael accelerates out onto the Mugello track. Difficult to get tyre temperatures up on this test day, but Ferrari bravely showing the new car in front of the press, and it certainly sounds distinctive. The V8 engine note just slightly different from that of the previous V10s. Maybe Ferrari were just a little bit too complacent during the past season. Michael certainly admits as much. But make no mistake, Ferrari are back, and Ferrari will challenge for the world title in 2006. One team certainly upcoming also has a Schumacher in it, of course. Toyota. They switched to Bridgestone tyres, and this year they have a stable lineup, and they look for their first victory. They launched the car at their northern French plant where they build the Toyota Yaris. It was an unusual but successful move. So Ralf Schumacher and Jarno Trulli pull off the wraps on the new Toyota, and then we asked Ralf about how he had settled in with the team. Now he was coming up to his second season.
In general, I think it started off a bit difficult for me. Obviously, new team, new car, and everything. But in general, always finished the races more or less and scored some points, which was very good. Well, certainly after 2005, having scored some podium positions, and obviously the first victory should be possible for us. testing so far was very successful. I mean, the main important things in November, December testing are usually engine reliability, since it's a new one, and the new back end and gearbox, which worked great. In our case, we have new tyres as well, which takes a lot of mileages as well to get right. It's very similar. I mean, I think that the amount of horsepower we have is around the figures where I started Formula 1 back in '96, so it's very similar, and the driving style is the same. The strength of our team is definitely the personnel in the factory and on the racetrack, and as well the fact that we, because of those figures we have at home, are able to build a car really fast. I mean, we were able to launch the 106 already in November, to be able to test as soon as possible, and as well within the racing season to be able to develop as quick as possible.
Jarno, do you go into this season feeling a little bit more relaxed now? You're used to working with Ralph and the team?
Well, I'm quite relaxed and especially fired up for this new season, because I believe we have a strong package and we can show strong performance this year.
You've obviously been testing with other teams, looked at some of the other cars. Anything impresses you particularly? Where's the opposition coming from?
At the moment, no, because it's still up on the air, the fact that not every team has got the right engine, the right car, the new car, so we wait. We personally are already running with the 2006 R from 1.5 months, and so far it's been very successful, because we are reliable and we look also competitive. We are learning quite a lot on the tyre-wise, because we switched from Michelin to Bridgestone, so there is a lot of work in development and learning. And but I must say, I'm very confident for this year.
And the Bridgestone engineers, they work in a different way to the people who are used to?
To be honest, I already knew them, and they're very professional, very committed, especially this year. It's a new challenge because of new rules, and they are already recovering from last year, bad performance, and at the moment they are looking good.
Top step of the podium?
I hope to score. I scored for Toyota in 2005 the first podium and the first pole position, and I hope to score as soon as possible the first victory.
And how much would that mean to you?
Well, it would mean a lot, because I've given Toyota quite a lot in terms of performance, in terms of input, and I feel really at home with this family. I work very well with the Japanese, and I really hope that I can continue like that for this season.
We've had a lot of work doing the 105 into the 105B, now the 106, and we've got a 106B coming out for the 7th race at Monaco. So a lot of improvements. We've got a big aerodynamic update coming for the first race. So yeah, it's been a busy time.
It's all changed really in the way these cars are designed. Used to be it was once a year, wasn't it? Or even once every 2 years.
Yeah, and I mean that's what the sort of theme of this launch is. It's not a car launch, because what do you call a car anymore? It's really constant evolution, and that's sort of very much the sort of Toyota way of continuous improvement. And actually, that is what we're doing in the Formula One program.
The cost of a single engine will be very similar to a V10. You have a little bit less parts, but not making a major difference. We still think that the number of engines we are building is a major contribution to our budget. So I think the careful control of testing is issue number one for reducing cost. Extending engine life as well, this can reduce a lot the number of engines if you keep rules stable. For example, if you had raced this year with a V10, with 2 races weekend, we would have done a lot of efficiency. Last year we had a lot of development because it was a new rule. So also stability of rules means reduction of costs. This is also important to consider.
How many engines will you build this year?
I think something a little bit more than 200 we're expecting, but for our team and the Midland.
The big question, can Toyota, who probably have the largest budget in Formula One, win for the first time in 2006? Ralph, meanwhile, has scored a brand new Toyota Yaris, a diesel version at that. Well, Williams, what a season it's going to be for them in 2006. They've split from BMW. They're back as an independent using Cosworth horsepower. And Mark Webber has a new teammate in young Nico Rosberg. Williams may no longer have the support of a major motor manufacturer, but they are still a huge team with a big workforce and tremendous facilities. And Frank Williams and Patrick Head, the founders, still believe they can be winners in 2006.
With the FW28 we started from a clean sheet. We were very aware of the change from V10s to V8s, which is a loss of 150 to 200 horsepower. So that changes quite a lot of things on the car. First of all, the weight distribution that you require, but more importantly and fundamental to the design is the aerodynamics and what drag levels you need to run. So it changes the minimum efficiency that you need out of the wind tunnel. So that change from engine made quite a big change to the mechanical and aerodynamic design of the car.
We've been working closely with Bridgestone since the decision was made to change, and Bridgestone seem to have made some very good progress over the winter. There's always some surprises possible when you go to hot tracks or hotter tracks than we've been testing at Jerez, but we're certainly working very closely and well with them. And with Cosworth equally, we've been very impressed with their approach, very impressed with their engine and with their problem solving as they go along.
Cosworth have done a superb job with the engine, and the lap times are already quite quick in relation to what we finished with in the end of 05. So the fans won't see any difference at all. The cars will sound a little bit different, but because we've got stability in the aerodynamic regulations and also the tyre war is still on in earnest, the lap times will still be very, very strong.
I've always done step by step, and this is just another step for me. So I expect to do well. As someone said, maybe the mistake here or there, I think, which is quite normal. But just to progress all the time and do a great job, I think, because I believe in myself, so I don't see a problem.
I think it's all gelled very well, and obviously taking on a new driver with Nico, it's all fairly new to him, other than obviously he did quite a bit of testing mileage last year. But he's had plenty of mileage over the winter, which has been good, and getting to work better with the engineers. I think gaining Alex Wurz as a test driver has been a major benefit, not necessarily just in terms of McLaren secrets or anything like that, but just his maturity, his experience, his technical approach to developing the car has been very useful to us.
Williams now got a few new elements. They have Bridgestone, they have Cosworth, new drivers basically, and so it's quite important for the drivers, for me as test driver, Friday driver, but also together with the race drivers and Naren to push all in the same directions, to bring the elements together. And that's a race against time, because we only have a certain amount of testing allowance over the year, and especially before the season you only have a few weeks. So with all the experience I've gained in my career with other teams, with the racing and testing, I'm just flat out actually trying to help the team, giving them feedback, information, sometimes even ideas to improve the overall package.
Well, the role for the team in 2006 is going to be a test driving role, which will obviously have some tests which will come up in the year, which is going to be spread over, and it's every time I drive the car I need to understand it well and try and give good feedback and improve the FW28, whatever contribution I make, and if it works and if the car's winning, then I also take part of the credit.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at Honda, Red Bull and BMW. Welcome back. Well, coming up now, the Honda effort. Their big news for 2006, well, British American Tobacco, they've sold their stake in the team. It's now totally Honda owned. And that means that Takuma Sato leaves. He is replaced by Rubens Barrichello. And in testing, the car has been very quick out of the box. And that's something that's made the chief executive, Nick Fry, very happy indeed. He believes they have their best chance since the team started back 5 years ago.
we're a Honda Works team. This is the first time this has happened since 1968, and it's a very proud moment for us. The other thing is that we'll be introducing 2 cars at the same time. Normally with Formula One teams, they offer 1 car to 1 driver, and then maybe a week or 2 later a second identical car is offered. We're now in a situation, such as the strength of our manufacturing and our logistics operation, that we've got a car for Jensen, a car for Rubens, both being launched on the same day, and that's quite a big step.
Honda for me is a big name. Honda, it's been the past of my friend Ayrton Senna. He used to tell me a lot about Honda, and I'm just honored, very honored to drive for them and to help them get where they want and I want, which is to be a world champion.
Everyone in the media is very excited about Rubens and myself being at Honda for 2006, and I think the whole team are. You know, everyone's very positive about the pairing, and I am as well. You know, it really helps having someone with that experience alongside me, and you know, I'm sure we're going to have a few moments on the circuit, because when you're in the same car and you're both experienced and quick, you're going to be finding each other on the circuit quite often. But you know, I'm sure we'll control ourselves.
Jensen for me seems to be a good friend. I mean, obviously we both want to fight to win, and I'm sure we're going to be fighting very hard inside the track, but outside we're going to have lots of fun and enjoy ourselves. We need to work together to get to the main objective, which is to fight for race wins. So I'm sure we will do that together.
I think with Jensen, he's incredibly competitive character, but I do think that having Rubens as a 9 times race winner working with him has given him that extra bit of impetus. Of course, he expects to be challenged the whole time now. Rubens is someone who can consistently be at the front of the grid, and that's going to push Jensen along. And what we've seen is a really nice dynamic between the 2 drivers. Very good relationship in terms of it's fun, but on the other hand, both of them clearly wants to show what they can do, and you know, they'll push each other to greater heights. So we've got great hopes for both of them.
It was a very difficult year in 2005, but you know, when we realised what our problems were, I think we put them right, and very quickly as well. So scoring points in the last 10 races, you know, I was the only driver to do that on the grid. So we can turn things around very quickly, which is important in Formula One. And I think, you know, the experience of us all doing that has made a big difference for 2006.
The regulation change to go to the V8 is probably the biggest engine change that we've had for 10 or 15 years, and it's one that we've taken a lot of time about. We had prototype engines running last year in May on the track, several generations of V8. It has a big knock-on, not just because the engine's much shorter, we have to repackage the engine, it's smaller, it has fewer exhausts, needs less cooling, so the car tends to end up smaller around the engine, but also has a big knock-on effect on the targets for aerodynamic efficiency and on the way it uses its tyres. So that it's really a very big rule change.
Lucky Strike have been a fantastic sponsor for the team, and it's almost a fairy tale, and we need to make sure that the last chapter is a really good one. Obviously, instead of just coming in as a team sponsor, they created a team from scratch, and that is a huge undertaking. They've been very, very entrepreneurial in the way they've gone about things. The marketing approach has been very innovative, and they're very, very good friends of the team, and really we want to go out with a bang. We want to go out delivering to them their first race win, and if we can do that, it'll be a huge party.
I certainly feel like the raw material of a successful team is within this building and behind the Honda F1 effort. Time will tell. That's the interesting thing. You never know who's going to win. The good thing is to be there challenging, and I feel we can be in that position.
For this year, we need and we want to challenge for race wins at every race. Does that mean we're intending to win every race? Of course not. We've got fantastically strong competition this year, but we want to be right at the top of the grid. We want to be challenging, and we want to have the ability to win races should that opportunity come along.
Next up, Red Bull. Well, the Austrian energy drinks company who bought the Jaguar F1 team a year ago have invested heavily for 2006. Top designer Adrian Newey joins from McLaren. They have Ferrari engines, and Christian Klein will be the full-time driver alongside David Coulthard.
Initial testing is really trying to get all the systems working between Red Bull and Ferrari, and obviously a different way of working after so many years with Cosworth. So I think the next test in Barcelona will tell us a lot just about what the real performance is. On paper it's one of the most exciting because with the V8s coming in, it throws in a new dynamic, and reliability is clearly going to be an issue for a lot of teams. It could shake things up. Tyre changes coming back should bring Bridgestone back into the fold, so there could be a lot more balance between the victories this year. You have a lot of serious manufacturer teams there, and just because we've been investing heavily over the last year doesn't guarantee you're going to keep moving forward, but and certainly in the short term. But we're trying to put together the right group of people and see how we develop. So it's exciting times. You know, Red Bull are investing heavily in Formula One, as you can see, and Minardi are no longer, but Toro Rosso are there for the young driver development program. And as long as I'm, you know, the first Red Bull guy over the line, I'll be happy.
And alongside Coulthard entering his third season in Formula One, Austrian Christian Klein. It's all change at Sauber. BMW have left their relationship with Williams and taken over the Sauber company of Switzerland. Nick Heidfeld goes with them and joins Jacques Villeneuve, and there is a major staff expansion at the Hinwil-based company. The architect of BMW's revised presence in Formula One is Dr. Mario Tyson, and he's hopeful of having a very good season.
The aim as an orchestrated team, a fully integrated team. Of course, the focus is on powertrain in Munich, powertrain and electronics, and the focus is on the chassis and race operations in Hinwil.
It's quite special. First of all, because I spent time with the Sauber team before. I spent 3 years with them. I also know BMW from last year with Williams. And I think there's a very special atmosphere within the team right now because they have the resources. Everything is more or less starting from, not really from zero, but this is putting two teams together, and that's quite exciting.
Oh, it's great to be part of BMW Sauber team. BMW has a great history in racing, has had many successes. It's a big company. It's got a lot of engineers, a lot of talent, and also now the team will have a lot of a budget, a lot of money, and that will help to develop the car, to spend time in the wind tunnel, to get all the testing we need, which wasn't the case last year. So it's very exciting.
I think the car looks fantastic. It's here right behind us. I've seen it before in the factory, but actually not all together. And this is the first time I see it all together now with all the sponsors on top. And I think it looks gorgeous, but the most important thing is that it's quick. Well, it's for sure a great experience. I mean, I didn't really expect that I would be here. You know, after winning last year World Series and doing good test in the beginning of December, I get opportunity to do as third driver in BMW Sauber F1 team, which is really challenging, and I think will be a really tough year for me. I have to learn a lot of new things about Formula One, how to drive the car, how the team works, how everything works in Formula One. But it's for sure a big challenge, and I hope it will be all right.
The drivers have always been important, and they still are a key factor, and they will be a key factor in future as well. They are part of the leading people of the team. Of course, all the engineers have lots of data available today in order to evaluate what the car does. But in the end, it's about the driver to feel comfortable and confident about the car, and only then he can be quick. So the driver will always play a major role.
After the break, we check out the 3 smallest teams in Formula One. Welcome back. Well, now we look at the final 3 teams in Formula One. And yes, there's name changes here. The Jordan name has gone. It is now Midland F1, but the team has a brand new car, and Christian Albers switches from the old Minardi team and joins Thiago Monteiro. The car was recently launched at Silverstone, and the Canadian-based Russian Alex Schneider, who owns the team, has given them quite a budget to produce a brand new design. Toyota engines, of course. Long-time Jordan employee James Key is now the technical director. Johnny Herbert joined in the middle of last season as the sporting relations manager, but Dr. Colin Collis continues as the team principal and the managing director. So what had changed for 2006?
The past 2-3 years John was not able to build a new car, so this changed now by taking over, and I hope that we will make a step forward.
What are your hopes for the year ahead? Points, podiums?
Well, we have to be realistic. Yeah? If we have a reliable car and we have a more competitive car, we should be able to get more on a regular basis in the points.
I think I'm really happy because the first time I came to the team, they are so motivated, and immediately you taste the spirit, you know, that the team was running a few years ago at the front of the field, and was successful. So you know, everything is possible again, and it's really nice to be part of that, and especially also with a nice teammate.
Now, you mentioned running at the front. You're used to running at the front in a DTM car. You came to Formula One straight out of DTM into probably not one of the strongest teams. Do you think this car can take you to the front?
It's always difficult to say, you know. I always prefer to be a little bit the underdog, you know, and let everybody else yell, and let's just do our homework, you know. And the only thing what is really, really important is just the results, and that's the only thing what counts, the precision and results. So, you know, how it looks on the data, and it looks really promising, but you always have to see it in real on the track, you know. The performers have to be there, so it's really difficult to say, but one thing I know for sure is that everybody is really, really motivated, and they definitely want to be going to the front.
Thiago, back with Midland this year, some significant changes to the team.
Definitely, yeah, and obviously apart from the colours and the name, there's a lot of other changes that have been done. Big car, completely different. When I say big car, I mean completely different. A lot of improvements on the downforce side. We have big hopes on it, to be fair. There will be some updates during the season, 3 to 4 updates, main updates during the season. So there will be the car we're going to see in Bahrain won't be the final car for the season, but we're hoping that the first step we've done is going to be significant. Obviously, we don't know how much the other ones are improving, so that's always an unknown thing. But we're pretty confident that we can fight closer to them.
You have every reason to be. You had a very successful season last year.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was an amazing year, better than anyone could expect for a first season, with a podium, with some points, 7 points, Rookie of the Year. It was just an amazing season. So I want to do better in a way. Reliability-wise, it will be difficult to do better than 18 races out of 19, but why not? You never know. But I want to do even more points, you know, and to be able to fight for them more regularly would be great.
This is going to be the first team to run under the Russian flag, and you're the first Russian test driver. That must mean a hang of a lot to you.
Yes, it's very important for our country. It's very important for the popularity of Formula One in Russia, but sure, Formula One will become more popular when I'll take my first start in Grand Prix.
That's going to be soon, hopefully. How do you find this Formula One car and the whole experience? It's got to be something special.
The Formula One car is really special. It's very nice to drive, and
I was ready for the test, so we make a pretty good job, and I feel really very good.
Formula One was a dream for me since I started my career in '98, and now I'm here in Silverstone at the Midland presentation. It's like a little dream for me, and I hope I can do a good job this year. And I've I think only one chance to get a Formula One cockpit in my life, and now I have the chance. I work very hard for it, and I hope my dream is coming true.
My official name is Sporting Relations Manager, and basically I'm liaising with yourselves, the press, the media, but I can sort of help out with my experiences with the drivers if they want to ask me questions. Sponsors, exactly the same thing. I can sort of talk to them, explain things, and it works very well. It's very sort of widespread for me. It's not just one specific thing. So last year was enjoyable, and hopefully it will be another enjoyable season this year.
So a brand new design, and we see the car going out for its first tentative laps at Silverstone. Well, can Midland pull away from the other small teams? Last season they spent much of the year racing against Minardi. But the Italian name has gone. That team has been bought by Red Bull for their younger drivers. They will continue to run V10 engines, albeit restricted, and that's controversial. And Scott Speed from the Red Bull Driver Development Program joins, the first American in Formula One for 10 years. In the past, Minardi have almost been better known for their two-seater Formula One demonstration cars than success on the track. But will all that change now with Vitantonio Liuzzi as their lead driver? And he's happy to have a full season ahead.
Finally, I'm really happy. We drive 19 races, hopefully, and everything is fine. For sure, we have a lot to work with the new Toro Rosso team because we have to rebuild a bit everything from zero because it's just new, it's just 2 months old. But there is a big challenge in front of us, and we like to challenge. We'll see what will happen.
And you may have a bit of an advantage with the V10 engine this year, maybe.
A lot of people say the same about this advantage. At the moment in the test it doesn't look like. For sure we can believe a lot in the reliability because it seems our strongest point, but regarding the speed and the power we still don't know anything. We have to wait Bahrain to have a look at it.
Now, how important would you say is Red Bull to your career in motorsport? They've been supporting you for a few years now. Must be very, very important.
I mean, I have to say for sure many thanks to if I'm Formula One because it's also because of them. I started when in karting and I grew myself in karting on my own until I won the karting world championship. And from the first season in single seater they supported me, and I really appreciate it because we grow together in Formula car and now we are together in Formula One. Last year was the first year for both in Formula One, me and Red Bull, and hopefully we arrive to the first world championship together.
His number 2, rookie driver Scott Speed, the first American in Formula One for some 10 years. It'll be a tough task ahead for the Californian. But what about the man who used to own the team?
Two things are going to play a big part in the championship this year are going to be tyres and obviously engines. We've got a new V8 formula which is untried, untested. A lot of people are going to miss the V10s. Obviously not the ex-Minardi teams, they've still got theirs. And tyres. I mean, tyres have played a major part in the championships over the past 5-6 years. Clearly it's going to do it again this year.
Is that a prediction that Bridgestone are going to be back where they were maybe in from 2004?
I think the pit stops suit the Bridgestone tyres, but don't underestimate Michelin. Their last year in competition, I think you might find that they pull out all the stops to go out on the high and follow on from this year's championship.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be an exciting year. Now, how painful is it for you to be watching on the sidelines and not being on the pit lane as you have been for the last 5-6 years?
Well, it's very painful, but I mean, there's not too many opportunities for ex-outspoken team bosses, so we'll see if the phone rings.
I mean, as a fan, it was great to see someone that was prepared to actually say what they felt. Do you think Formula 1 needs more of that?
I think it does. I think we've lost it. You know, really, when we saw the close of the Chinese Grand Prix, you saw the end of Minardi, the end of Sauber as we know it, and the end of the Jordan name. That's a pretty serious blow. That was really all the independence of Formula One going out in one day. Obviously, you've got Frank Williams, you've got Ron Dennis, you've got, you know, they're the backbone of the old guard of Formula One. But I think you do need a bit of independence there. It's going to be a bit boring if it ever becomes a clinical sport where it's just the manufacturers. Need a little bit of independent competition.
I would agree, absolutely, 100%. On the positive side, how good do you think this coming season is going to be?
It'll be fantastic. I think McLaren are going to start as favourites for having the fastest car. Clearly, if they can follow on from where they finished in 05, clearly they had the fastest car, didn't have the luck. Fernando, again, defending his title with Renault, going to be on a mission to prove something. I think he'll do good. I can't see Fisichella having as poor a season as he had in 05, so they're going to lift. But I think Toyota's going to be the surprise team. You know, they were last year. They lifted themselves right up to 4th. I think they're going to go even further this year. I'm hopeful that Williams with the Cosworth engine and with my great mate Mark Webber in there, I hope they're going to have a good year. I'm sure Nico Rosberg is going to show his true colours because he certainly did enough to earn that position. Losers of the year, probably Jordan, I think. Without us to be matched with, I think they're going to struggle, or MFI, as I should perhaps call them. Be very interesting to see where Minardi goes or Toro Rosso goes with the V10 engine. I think they could be a lot more competitive than people think. But I'll make a prediction. I don't believe that Toro Rosso will be the only team that has a V10. I think the loser of the year will be the V8 engine.
Well, as the controversial Australian exits Formula One, we have a new team boss and indeed a new team for 2006. Super Aguri Formula One is the brainchild of Aguri Suzuki, the Japanese Formula One driver from the 1990s, and he has put together a package with Japanese sponsors and indeed Honda Power. For the time being, the team are using an old Arrows design which was never actually raced, and they've recruited Takuma Sato, ex of BAR Honda, to lead the driving lineup alongside this man, Yuji Ide. He'll be a complete rookie, but he finished second in last year's Formula Nippon Championship. So that's the lineup of 24 drivers and cars who will line up at the opening round of the 2006 Formula One World Championship at Bahrain. Another great season in prospect.